This is Random from the table coming at your edition of MLB Observations Week 25 of the 2025 season. So it'd be the Rays. I know Chase Simpson is really fast. He even made a good play in the outfield this week. So it makes sense he's leading off. And if he's not a great infielder, it makes sense you're going to play him in the outfield. But he's not an outfielder. So is Chris Morel, not an outfielder. Hey, they at least played him second base once this week. Yanni Diaz should never be batting leadoff or second, or even having Junior Habanero, who's hitting 40-plus home runs, bat second or third. If that's the reason why you're playing Chandler Simpson in the outfield because of his speed, keep him in the leadoff spot. Brandon Lau has spent a lot of his career in the 2 spot, so maybe just put Diaz and Junior Caminero 3 and 4. That makes a really good 2, 3, and 4. And they lost the maneuver in Cubs. Bush has been leading off a lot of days. Happ is batting second, but there are days where Nico's batting second and Happ is batting third. Those two make sense, and obviously having Nico bat fifth, I've said this at PTA Cleanup, those are not middle line hitters, they're contact guys. And Willie Castro's played a lot of outfield because of Kyle Tucker's injury, and that's why they got him, is to plug him in when they need to, but he's not really an outfielder. And the Cubs, I think, may lead the league in starting pitchers in the bullpen. Hodge, the young guy, he's come out of the bullpen, but because I think they started Cade Horton. Pomerantz and Keller have been starting pitchers pitching out of bullpen, but sometimes they've used them as openers or multiple inning relievers. Javier Assad, who has been hurt but also in the rotation, has pitched out of the bullpen now the last couple of weeks. Michael Soroka, who they got at the deadline as one of their key acquisitions that Tom Ricketts was very excited about when I spoke to him, he is back, and he's pitched out of bullpen multiple times. And Savali, who the Sox traded for away Andrew Vaughn to get, got absolutely pretty much nothing for the Cubs for Savali. He's also pitching out of bullpen. Pirates. Jarrett Terrell leading off, Mr. Horowitz second. None of those guys should be batting 1 and 2. Gonzalez has batted second a few times, and that makes sense. Cruz and McCutcheon batting the middle line instead of leading off has made sense recently. And then I'll say this about Jason Bay. If he's playing, maybe he should be at the top instead of him batting like 6th or 7th. Jared Chirillo, it doesn't matter if he's playing third base or shortstop. He's been proven he's a very good defensive player. Ryan Reynolds, again, they haven't had an everyday left fielder. They've played so many people in left field. He should be playing right field. And then Gonzalez actually plays shortstop one day, which is interesting. And in York, they list York as a second baseman. But then I see him out there playing first base in the outfield. So it's kind of, again, playing another guy position. Washington, C.J. Abrams and Wood leading off, or vice versa. Makes more sense C.J. Abrams is leading off. James Wood should be 3. They did a lot of maneuvering in his rookie year back between 2 and 3. I think 3 should be a spot permanently because Luis Garcia is not a middle lineup hitter. And then Paul DeYoung is a shortstop playing second base or third base. Royals. He hasn't went leading off. Makes sense because, again, speed and contact. But Frazier, I know they got him because he's a versatile piece and they like his bat, but he's not an outfielder. And Tolbert, they like his speed, but he's not an outfielder. And Massey, they like his bat, but he's not an outfielder. But he has played second base, which is, more in line with what he actually can do. And then Michael Lorenzen is back and healthy with their pitching out of bullpen when he can start. Philly. Henderson Bader's been leading off since Trey Turner got hurt, and that's made sense. Stott even had some time at shortstop, his actual position. Kyle Schwarber and Harper, some days batting 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, whatever. Like, Kyle Schwarber should be in the line of protecting Harper, and I still think Harper can play outfield on first base. Orioles, it matter if it's Jackson Holiday, there's Jeremiah Jackson, or Jordan Westbrook. Those guys make sense in the 1 and 2 spots. Westbrook doesn't make sense cleaning up, and nor does Jackson make sense batting 5th or 6th. Gunner in the 3 spot, I've been saying it, driving in runs, make a lot of sense. I still think he's probably better suited to play third base than shortstop, but that's what he is. And Jackson apparently is a natural born infielder playing the outfield. Kobe Mayo's a third baseman playing first base, so it's not out of stretch, but that's why I have Ryan Mountcastle. Vasquez, super utility guy, pitching a blowout, which makes sense. Beavers batting second. I wrote this second because I didn't think he should be batting second because he's got some pop. And then Mateo's back, but they're out there him playing the outfield when he's an infielder. Blue Jay, George Springer leading off. I've been saying this. They got him to protect Vladimir Guerrero not to bat leadoff. Okay, Varsho, I know he won the Gold Glove in center field, but he's better suited to play left field because they got 3 guys who play center field. Schneider, he's playing the outfield when right now Bo Bichette is hurt for the rest of the regular season, and they're playing Anderson Mendez at his actual position shortstop, which is interesting. So IKF, if they got him to trade to play second base, why can't you just play Schneider at second base? Luke is batting second, makes sense, speed and contact. Both Eric Lauer and Rodriguez, who have started games for them, are pitching out of bullpen, and Barger's actually playing some more third base, but then they threw him in the outfield the other day. Rangers, Josh Smith leading off is fine. Langford batting second is pretty good. It was surprised that he's playing center field because I thought that was going to be Evan Carter's spot, but Evan Carter's hurt. Smith is not really shortstop. Of course, he gets hurt, so he's been playing everywhere as a utility man. And apparently Freeman's an infielder they play in the outfield. And Dylan Moore's also an infielder playing at first base when he's a shortstop. Mets, Lindor and Soto 1 and 2, which puts Nimmo third or fourth. I've been saying this. If you want to keep Lindor in the 2 spot, I think the Mets had some success early in the year when Soto was third and Nimmo was leadoff. But hey, what do I know? And Brett Brady paying out of position at second base puts McNeil in the outfield. Like, why can't you just play Beatty at third base, McNeil at second, just DH Vientos? And Manaea, they moved him to the bullpen because they spent a lot of money on him. It's just been a lost year because he's actually a starter. White Sox, Kyle Teel batting second and Curtis Mead batting second. Those guys, they should be, especially Teel, should be maybe fifth or sixth. Mead toward the bottom until it proves that Talkman or Chase Majoff 1 or 2 makes the most sense. Speed and contact, not Talkman batting fifth. Sosa playing first base, batting third. Again, you want the pop in the lineup. It's okay, he plays second base once in a while, but he's not great defensively. Baldwin's still playing the outfield, especially center field when he's not an outfielder. I like seeing Fletcher play center field because he's actually a natural-born center fielder. They did a few bullpen games. It's not at least one, and then Burke came as a bulk guy when he should start. Cleveland, Martinez batting second, cool. Martinez and Steven playing the outfield when they're infielders, not cool. Jones playing right field is great, but he's not a center fielder. Kafis, who is an outfielder, they're playing him at first base. If they're going to play Kafis at first base and even Big Crispus Noel, like the whole maneuvering of keeping Manzardo and David Fry, trading away Spencer Horowitz, signing Carlos Santana was a lot of maneuvering around when you knew you had Kafis in your minor leagues and Noel, who's an outfielder. And then Judas Nala pitching on a bullpen when they're starters. Detroit, Gleyber Torres batting second when I think he'd be really good at fifth or sixth in the lineup to protect Carpenter. And Riley Green, I still think if he was batting second, that'd probably be a much better spot than him being a cleanup hitter, but it's kind of shades of Curtis Granderson with the Tigers years ago. He was batting at the top, they batted him all over, and then he was a big run producer in the middle lineup for them and playing all three outfield spots. Carpenter batting third and DHing where he should be. No outfield. I think they're healthy enough in the outfield. Chris Paddock, who they got in a trade to be a starting pitcher at the deadline, is pitching on the bullpen. Urquidy, who they signed this offseason, who's recovering from surgery. It makes sense he's on the bullpen, but they signed him to start. McKinstry also infielder playing the outfield, and I like Parker Meadows is now back and leading off some days. Miami, Xavier Edwards leading off is cool because of speed and contact. What I don't like is Ramirez, the power slugging hitting catcher, and Otto Lopez, a contact guy, batting cleanup. There should be a swap there. Sanoa, utility player, plays the outfield, but he's an infielder. And Tyler Johnson is actually an outfielder, so he's not playing him at first base. And the Jansen Junk actually started because he wasn't starting at the beginning of the year. Yankees, Judge batting second. He should be a permanent fixture in the 3 spot. Grisham should, at this point, be a permanent fixture in the leadoff spot. I know he's 30-plus home runs, but that's mostly what he's been. But then they bat him 7th because they're like, oh, he's been driving in runs. Let's bat him 7th. No. Rice batting second and playing first base. Like, I'm glad they're playing him more a catcher, but he sometimes makes a little bit of an error. But you want his bat in the middle, not at the top. Bellinger, no matter if he's 3, 4, or 5, or he's playing right field or left field, those are better suited for him, but then they throw him in center field occasionally. Jazz Chisholm, doesn't matter if he's batting because they're 6. I still think he should be at the top. At least he's playing the natural position second base. And Austin Slater, I'm glad he's back and healthy with the Yankees, but he's not a leadoff hitter, nor is Goldschmidt. And then Blackburn, they got him because they've had a lot of injuries, and he's a starting pitcher, but they're pitching him on a bullpen. Red Sox, Jarren Duran leading off has been good to get him back in where he's been successful. Bregman and Trevor Story should be the middle of the lineup. None of them should be batting second. Eden is an infielder playing the outfielder. Roman Gonzalez is a middle infielder playing first base, which is what they've been doing the past few years, so he has played some second base, and I do like when he's at the top, not in the middle. Refsheider's also an infielder playing the outfield. Matt's pitching a bullpen, I think he could start. Houston Correa leading off and playing third base were mistakes because they got us for his lineup to have some protection in the lineup, and he drives and runs and hits home runs. So that's why he should be 3rd or 4th or 5th, not 1st. Playing out of position because they have Jeremy Pena. Jordan Alvarez, I'm glad he's back and healthy, but he's not a 2-hitter, should be in the middle of the lineup. Altuve should be batting second, not 3rd or 4th. At least Altuve is playing slightly more second base after the weird experiment they've done with him in left field this year. But the DH to Milan and Alvarez, who they made a big deal, he's going to be the full-time DH. He's out there playing left field. And there's no way you're going to keep him healthy if he's playing the outfield. Pena leading off instead of Correa, as I said, makes more sense. Smith, the young player they got from the Cubs, has played a lot of right field this year, even though he's an infielder. And Dubon, the super utility infielder, is playing the outfield a lot. Atlanta, Profar leading off is cool. Kuhn is back to batting 3rd, but Olsen's still batting 2nd, and I see Marcell Ozuna 8th. A lineup of Olsen, and Acuna is Acuna, Olsen, and Ozuna would be really good 3, 4, and 5. There are days where Baldwin, the rookie, Albies, and Michael Harris, and Hassan Kim, who are contact guys, are batting 4th through 7th, which makes no sense. Dunning is starting pitcher by the bullpen. The Braves had a lot of injuries, so they just need someone to pitch. Atlanta, Perdomo and Vargas leading off, or Marte makes sense, speed and contact. Carroll's been batting 3rd because of all the injuries, and they just need someone consistently there. Tawa is one of the many young infielders, and they have nowhere to put him, so he's playing first base. Blaze Alexander, same issue. No, too many young infielders, that's why he's in the outfield. Chris Mott actually started a game while DeSclafani pitched in the bullpen when he can start. Speaking of Vargas, he's not a first base or a DH. If you're going to play him with second base, shortstop, or third base, and they lost the DH maneuvering. Twins, Buxton leading off has been good. Clemens and Julian are both second basemen playing first base. Cardinals, Herrera, they still have this weird experiment of him batting second and taking DH spot and a speed and contact spot from someone else. Contreras batting cleanup and playing first base. Again, I didn't think him moving to first base was good for this roster, but offensively, cleanup makes sense. And Burleson is one of those guys who could be DHing or playing first base. He's out there playing left field. Brewers, Sal Frelick and Jackson batting 1 and 2, or Terang, like those guys make sense. It does make sense for Terang to bat third. So there was a day where Yelich batted 4th and 5th. They guys should be consistently 3 and 4. Collins, we know he's like an infielder outfielder, but he's not really an outfielder. Ashby and Fetty are starting pitchers in the bullpen, and Montero is a really good natural-born shortstop who's played second and third, not really first baseman. Rockies, Tyler Freeman leading off. They've DH'd him a lot, but he actually played second base. But they also played him a lot in right field. He's not really an outfielder. Goodman should be in the middle lineup with Jordan Beck, not second, so it's a good 3-4. While Gold Glove Doyle and glove first player Tovar should not be batting in the middle of the lineup. Tovar second is fine. Senzatella has been a huge part of the rotation when healthy, but he's pitching out of the bullpen, and Moniak batting second is where he should be. And then you got the Padres. Tatis leading off. I still think should be middle lineup. Arise batting second. Has been 90% of the season, except for the time he's in the middle lineup. And he's played some second base, his actual position. Like Cronenworth plays shortstop, his actual position. And Merrill was consistently batting in sixth the past couple of weeks, but we'll throw him cleanup when they had plenty of cleanup guys. Like Sheets, O'Hearn, and Bogarts are more prototypical cleanup hitters. Reds, TJ Friedel leading off is what they've done correctly. But they've been switching so much around that Gavin Lux is batted like second one day, and there's another day he's batted fifth. There's a day where he's playing the outfield, and there's a day DHing, but he at least plays second base one. Because McLean used to be in the 2 spot, and I was like, I get it. You're going to stack all the speed and contact guys, and you go Dela Cruz third, and you go Hayes fourth, and Lux fifth, and you go all speed and contact. You get the Stevenson and Steer. And I'm like, that was what they were trying to do most of the year. But now De La Cruz batting seventh, and what offensive value does a table setter have batting seventh? Especially if Hayes is still in the middle lineup with Lux. Like, it's not very scary. Because they're like, oh, let's put Marte second when he's a. They want his bat in the lineup because he can hit bombs. Like, he's not a 2-hitter. You want to DH him, cool, but not in the 2 spot. And again, he's one of the many third basemen they have to play in the outfield because they have too many third basemen. And he's not really an outfielder. Third, I think, is a little bit of a stretch. I would think 6th or 7th would be a better spot for Marte, and Steer at least is playing first base. And then Martinez, who I've been saying shouldn't be in the rotation. At least I'm happy that he's pitching in the bullpen. That's where he's better suited. Still think Ashcraft could be starting for them. And then Will Benson batting 3rd and 4th. Like, that's new for a backup outfielder. He doesn't play as much because they've had a pretty consistent amount of guys in the outfield recently with TJ Friedel, Gavin Lux, and Hayes in center field and left. And before they got rid of Jake Fraley. A's. Austin Butler leading off makes sense. Langolier's batting first or second, and Kurtz batting first or second, or Rooker. I've been saying this. Rooker, Kurtz, and Langoliers, and Soderstrom should be that 3 through 6. Wilson should be batting second or 8th or 9th, not 5th. There were days that Kurt and Rooker batting middle lineup, which makes sense. Schumann is not an outfielder, he's an infielder. Thomas is a young outfielder, he should not be batting cleanup. Soderstrom, I would rather use a DH spot on him and play more Rooker in the outfield because he's a catcher playing the outfield. This is pretty simple there. Angels, Trout leading off for batting second when he should just be staying in the 3 spot. Ward should be permanent in the 4 spot. Moncada should be 5th or 6th, not second. Peraza leading off makes sense. He has some speed, but he's not a first baseman. Davidson, this corner infielder, he pitched in a blowout. Renifo, who should be playing second base, is out there playing the outfield. And Urena, who started and relieved for the Angels this year, pitched on a bullpen. Mariners, Randy Rosarena and Cal 1 and 2 is the big mistake. Because J.P. Crawford leading off and J-Rod second has been what was working for them with Cal third. And Randy and cleanup and Polanco 5th. The point of Naylor and Suarez was to break up Randy Arozarena and Polanco and extend this lineup even further, not completely change the whole makeup of the team. Dodgers, Ohtani and Betts 1 and 2, 2 and 1, whatever. Like those guys, at least one of them should be in the lineup. Edman is playing center field when he's probably a much better infielder. They did a bullpen game where Emmett Sheehan did the bulk, so he pitched out of bullpen, he should start. They lost the DH maneuvering because they do that with Ohtani every time he starts at DH. Giants, Ramos leading off, Devers batting second, Adames batting third, and Lee batting 6th or 7th. None of those are the right spots. Ramos was like an all-star who had 20-plus home runs from last year. Devers a slugger, and Lee was batting leadoff last year until he got hurt, and he did a huge chunk this year at one point, and Adames was batting second for a huge chunk at some point. Then they one day put Adames second, Lee first, Devers third, and Ramos 6th. And I'm like, yeah, that kind of makes sense. And even Devers placed on first base, and there was a game where, because he wasn't that experienced at first base, guess what? He made a mistake. Really the issue with him there. And then Lucchesi, the starting pitcher, been a bullpen. The Giants have had a lot of injury and issues in their rotation. Maybe they should start him. But thanks again for listening to another show of MLB Observations, Week 25 of the 2025 season. For Under a Table Block, I'm Radar. See you guys next time.